In our last discussion, we mapped out the three-stage cycle of money laundering: placement, layering, and integration. It's a useful framework, but it can feel a bit abstract. Today, we're getting our hands dirty. We're going into the garage, so to speak, and looking at the specific tools criminals pull from their toolbox to execute that cycle. Because while the goal is always the same, to make illicit funds look legitimate, the methods are varied, ingenious, and often hiding in plain sight within legitimate commerce. You might think you need to be a forensic accountant to spot these schemes, but that's not true. By the end of this, you'll have a concrete understanding of 5 common techniques, how they function in the real world, and the specific, tangible cracks in each method where the truth starts to leak through. This isn't just academic knowledge, it's a practical lens you can apply to the financial world around you. Let's start with perhaps the most classic and labor-intensive technique: structuring. Also known as smurfing, this is a placement stage workhorse. The problem is simple: a criminal has a mountain of physical cash from drug sales or illegal gambling. Banks are required to report any cash deposit over $10,000 in the US and similar thresholds globally. The solution: avoid the report. Smurfing involves breaking down that large, suspicious lump sum into many smaller, less conspicuous amounts that fall just under the reporting threshold, say $9,500 at a time. The criminal then employs a network of individuals, the Smurfs, to make these deposits at various branches, into various accounts, sometimes over several days or weeks. It's a numbers game. The red flags here are behavioral and pattern-based. From the bank's perspective, they might see an individual who rarely deals in cash suddenly making multiple cash deposits of $9.00 in a single week. Or they might see multiple, seemingly unrelated individuals all depositing similar amounts just under the threshold into accounts that ultimately funnel to the same beneficiary. The insider secret is that anti-money laundering software doesn't just look at single deposits. It aggregates $9,000 deposits from different people into linked accounts, triggers the system just as loudly as one $90,000 deposit. The common mistake criminals make is assuming that staying under the magic number makes them invisible, but pattern recognition is what catches them. Once the cash is in the system, it needs to be hidden. This brings us to the Swiss Army knife of money laundering: the shell company. A shell company is a corporate entity that exists only on paper. It has no significant assets, no employees, no office, just a name, registration documents, and a bank account. In many jurisdictions, these can be set up with anonymous directors and shareholders, providing a perfect veil of secrecy. How is it used? In the layering stage, dirty money is transferred into the shell company's bank account. From there, it can be invested, loaned, or used to pay for services from another shell company owned by the same criminal, creating a complex web of transactions that obscures the original source. In the integration stage, the now layered money in the shell company can be used to buy legitimate assets, like real estate or a yacht, making it look like a legitimate corporate purchase. The red flags for a shell company are often found in its lack of substance: a company with a grandiose name like Global Consolidated Holdings Ltd., but a registered address that is a virtual office or a lawyer's filing cabinet. A company that engages in high-volume, high-value transactions but has no online presence, no credible website, and no discernible commercial activity. When you ask for proof of business, client contracts, invoices, payroll records, there is nothing but a bank statement showing money moving in circles. Now, let us look at a technique that exploits the very backbone of global trade: trade-based money laundering, TBML. This is one of the most sophisticated and hardest to detect methods because it hides among millions of legitimate international shipments. The core idea is to misrepresent the price, quantity, or quality of goods in an international trade transaction to move value across borders. There are 2 primary methods. First, over-invoicing. Imagine a criminal in country A wants to move $1 million to an accomplice in country B. They set up a trade deal. The accomplice in country B ships $200,000 worth of genuine printer parts to the criminal in country A. However, the invoice says the parts are worth $1.2 million. The criminal in country A pays inflated $1.2 million to the accomplice's company. The extra $1 million is the laundered money, now disguised as a legitimate payment for goods. Our fourth technique is more brazen and involves corrupting the system from within, bank capture. This is when criminals, often through bribery or coercion, gain influence or control over the operations of a bank or other financial institution itself. This doesn't necessarily mean owning the bank. It can mean bribing a compliance officer to ignore suspicious transactions, or placing a corrupt individual in a key managerial role. Once they have this insider access, the entire laundering process becomes exponentially easier. Suspicious transactions are not flagged. Large cash deposits are waved through. Fake loans can be created to integrate funds. The bank itself provides the clean money. The red flags here are often institutional. A bank operating in a high-risk jurisdiction with surprisingly lax due diligence procedures. A financial institution that grows its assets at an inexplicable rate without a clear business model. Rapid turnover of senior compliance staff, which can indicate internal pressure or corruption. While this technique is less common for the average criminal due to the high barrier to entry, it's devastatingly effective when it occurs, as it turns the gatekeeper into the accomplice. Finally, let us examine a centuries-old system that operates parallel to the traditional banking world, the hawala or hundi system. This is an informal value transfer system based not on moving physical currency, but on trust and a network of brokers, hawalators.